think on every single one of my videos, I get at least like 10 comments that say, why haven't they made a Call of Duty Ghost 2? And I think there's a couple of reasons for that. First of all, I think it's a really underrated Call of Duty campaign, and it leaves off on a giant cliffhanger. So Activision refuses to make this Call of Duty Ghost 2. So I did. And what I mean by that is normally in my videos, I talk about the story of Call of Duty. I bring in all of the information and present it to you guys in a way that is good. But this time I couldn't do that because Call of Duty Ghost 2 doesn't exist. So I wrote my own game. I wrote where I think the story should go next based off of Call of Duty Ghost 1. And it's very different doing that than what I normally do with my videos. So I've been kind of nervous to put this one out there, but I've kind of taken some cutscenes from Ghost 1, as well as made some storyboard images for what I believe this story could be. And if you guys do enjoy this kind of thing, hit that like button, share it with your friends. If this video does really well, I will try to find an editor who can actually make cutscenes, and maybe we can actually make this into a Ghost 2 movie or something. But again, this is something I haven't done before. So if you enjoy it, you like it, it's based off of Call of Duty Ghost 1, just let me know. I mean, if you don't like it, you can say what you'd change down in the comments too, but Activision won't make it. So here's my version of what Call of Duty Ghost 2 should be. First off, we have to understand what happened in Call of Duty Ghost 1. So in the year 2014, during the Tel Aviv War in the Middle East, a crisis occurs causing devastation for numerous nations, including nuclear fallout. After this, an army is created in South America known as the Federation Army, slowly pulling in several countries from South America and slowly moving north towards America. At this time, a soldier by the name of Hesh Walker is telling his sons about a set of soldiers called the Ghost and the backstory behind them. However, the Federation Army has other plans. They somehow make their way into space and launch a kinetic bombardment into several coastal cities across America. The one we are looking at here is San Diego. Now, eventually we find out that Elias is a member of the Ghost, and eventually his sons, Logan Walker and David Hesh Walker, join him alongside to fight against the Federation Army. However, there are other plans because a rogue member of the Ghost, known as Gabriel T. Rorke, is hunting the Ghost. He is a former Ghost leader. And at one point, while fighting in South America, he was captured, taken deep into the jungle, and tortured until his brain was twisted, mended, and then he was forced to hunt down, track down, and kill all the members of the Ghosts. Eventually, Rorke, alongside the Federation Army, end up capturing several members of the Ghosts, including David, Logan, and their father, Elias. And this is what Rorke ends up doing to Elias, the father of Logan and David.
I'm proud of you, Logan. Everything's gonna be okay.
So by the very end of the campaign, Logan and David Hesh end up tracking down Rorke. And when they do, you seemingly finally have the upper hand, seemingly killing Rorke and eventually washing up on shore. However, this is where the cliffhanger comes in.
What you did. You're good. You'd have been a hell of a ghost. But that's not gonna happen. There ain't gonna be any ghosts. We're gonna destroy him together.
There are ancient tribes deep in the Amazon who have perfected the art of torture over hundreds of years. The Federation embraced this heritage, enhancing it with more sophisticated methods. Feeding him food mixed with the poisons of exotic plants. As they broke down his body, they went to work on his mind. When his mind broke, they went to work on his soul. They rebuilt what was left, twisting him to their purposes. The process was excruciating and exacting. The perfect weapon to use against us.
Ghost 2 starts out in a rainforest, deep within the Amazon rainforest, with Logan Walker being held captive by none other than Gabriel T. Rorke. However, the ghosts haven't given up on him. They've sent in a bunch of soldiers and have caused an attack within the rainforest. But at this point, it is too late because you play as Logan Walker, but this time you are brainwashed, slowly taking out the American soldiers and escaping from the rainforest. This time, once again, just like Rorke, Logan Walker has been brainwashed to want to kill and take down every single one of the ghosts. And by the very end of the mission, Logan Walker makes his way to a helicopter and escapes a very rainforest he was tortured in. So where does Logan go but other than San Diego? He is going in and hunting down the ghosts, hunting down his brother, hunting down his squad mates. Now, the thing that you have to remember about ghosts is that several of these areas around the coast of the United States have been hit by these ballistic kinetic missiles shot from outer space and are quite literally post-apocalyptic. So it creates this really cool area for these soldiers to fight. But I think a good place for this to happen is a place where the ghosts would have set up a base. And I think a good place for this would be Petco Stadium in San Diego. If you played Ghost 1, you'll know why this is an interesting pick. Now, Logan didn't come in alone. He brought the Federation army and so many soldiers that they pushed the ghosts out of the stadium. Now, as the ghosts are moving out of the stadium, they say one thing at the end of the mission, one thing alone. We need Riley. Now, at this point, you're thinking, why do they need Riley? Riley is the German Shepherd, the dog soldier that was in Call of Duty Ghost 1. Why would they need him and how would he help in this battle? But in fact, that is not what they were talking about. Cut to our next mission. This one is odd. It's once again on a coastal city, but this time it's a post-apocalyptic New York City. And they weren't talking about Riley the dog. They were talking about Simon Ghost Riley. That is right. He is a part of the Ghost. We'll get to that in a second. He is currently on a mission, not with Task Force 141, but another set of soldiers. They are moving in on a target in a building. In fact, this building is the Rockefeller Center. Now, in this mission, you are playing as Ghost, or Simon Riley. And as you make your way through the Rockefeller Center, eventually you get your way to a door. And as you reach for the handle, the door explodes and everything fades to black. Now, Call of Duty developers have said for a long time that they don't want to do a campaign based off of Simon Ghost Riley's origin story. But what if it wasn't just a full campaign, rather just a mission or two? And in this, they could tell his growing up backstory where he was a kid and had an abusive father, grew up, eventually became a soldier, working in the army, fighting against this drug runner within Mexico, and how that drug runner eventually came back to America, killed his old family, and he got revenge by essentially faking his death and becoming a ghost. They could tell this entire story within a mission within Call of Duty Ghost 2, topping it off with the fact that Ghost, or Simon Riley, was actually a part of that original group. He was the original Ghost, and the reason why the rest of those soldiers in the mission that Elias Walker was talking about painted their faces like ghosts, popped up out of the ground following Simon Riley's lead.
They were like hunters that couldn't be seen, using stealth their enemies couldn't defend against. When the men ran dry of ammunition, they used their blades. And when the blades ran dull, they used their hands. When the dust and sand had settled, only one of the enemy had survived. He was picked up in the desert, wandering aimlessly, traumatized. He expressed warnings to others of a force so menacing and unbeatable, it could only be described as supernatural. He called them ghosts.
Now, after the flashback, Ghost wakes up and he is in a room surrounded by soldiers with dead teammates all around. However, he manages to find a way of escaping, and as he does, he gets a radio transmission from his fellow Ghost. It's David Hesh on the radio asking him to come to San Diego, that they need help. And Ghost, being Ghost, says he'll be there. So as he fights his way through the post-apocalyptic New York, he eventually makes his way to an extraction chopper that pulls him out of the area. Now he lands in San Diego, and fighting through a small community, the Ghosts have made their way back to the house where both Logan and David grew up. And Logan is slowly pushing his way forward towards the house, fighting in a war, and Simon Ghost Riley is there to fight alongside them. But with the help of the Federation army, Logan has the upper hand, breaks his way into the house, and captures the Ghost. Now at this point, it cuts to a mission where you're once again playing as Riley, but not Simon, this time the dog. Just like the mission from Call of Duty Ghosts 1 where you have the camera on your back, Riley is working his way through that neighborhood in San Diego and eventually makes his way to a window, breaking through and attacking Logan. Once again, we have another flashback mission. This time, we are Logan Walker. However, we are Logan Walker as a child. We are in our backyard and we see Elias, our father, who died in Call of Duty Ghosts 1, walking into the backyard with a box. But inside is a German Shepherd puppy. Through this flashback, we see Logan growing up alongside Riley, training him and bonding with him. And when the flashback ends, we don't see Riley attacking Logan, but rather licking his face. And just like that, Logan is snapped out of his brainwashing. Everything that Rorke did was counteracted by Riley. Riley really saved the day. And just like that, we see Logan Walker put on his ghost mask, and once again, he is fighting alongside his brother and brothers in arms. So now the battle switches. All our main characters are together. We have Simon Riley, we have the rest of the Ghosts, and they have one job and one job alone: to stop Rorke. So once again, we go back to the Amazon rainforest. This time, Logan now knows of a bunker that Rorke was residing in. So they go to this bunker deep within the Amazon rainforest to find and kill Rorke. However, when they get there, it is pretty much abandoned. As they work their way through the rainforest, they're not fighting soldiers, but rather the animals that reside there. Pete is not going to be happy about this mission, but upon getting inside, there's only a few soldiers left behind from the Federation army. So they sneakily take these guys out, and upon getting to the main part of the bunker, they discover not Rorke, but rather plans. There's a big board, and on it, there is the White House. They now know Rorke's plan. It is to get inside the White House and get more launch codes to let another Odin strike loose, just like we saw at the beginning of Call of Duty Ghosts 1. So we now go to the White House, and again, it's a post-apocalyptic version. It's taking place in the year 2027, or at least shortly thereafter. And this time, they are pushing into the White House. Rorke has fully taken over and is working his way deep down inside into a bunker beneath the White House. So upon getting down into the bunker, they are jumped and attacked by Rorke, and Rorke is ready for them. Traps are set, and this time, it's David that ends up getting injured, and not just injured, brutally wounded, and he bleeds out in Logan Walker's arms. And just like in Ghost 1, Hesh has a very similar thing to his father to say to his brother.
I'm proud of you, Logan. Everything's gonna be okay.
Brothers and brothers in arms come to an end on this very mission, but the mission is not over. They continue going after Rorke and eventually end up getting in a battle and taking out Rorke, eliminating him. So after a very sad scene of Logan saying goodbye to his brother, Riley sitting over the body of David, just not being able to move, licking his face like that is going to save him, they go to leave the bunker, and we cut to the credits. But just like any good Call of Duty game, we have a post-credits scene. It takes place right away within the bunker. They go over to Rorke's body and check it for any further information. They seemingly have stopped the attack until they find a cell phone. Looking at the cell phone, they see a number on it. There's a text message from the number 737-7387. And From this, the text message reads, "We got the codes, the mission is a go." Now, I'm gonna leave this one up to you guys. Why is that text important? What does it mean? And more specifically, who is it from? So that is how I would write Call of Duty Ghost 2. I told you, very different than the normal video I do, but I tried to work in the Ghost story, play into the modern warfare side of things with Simon Ghost Riley, and even have a little Easter egg of things to look forward to. So if you enjoy this type of video and maybe would want to see me continue deeper with some cutscenes or even dive into some other Call of Duty stories, let me know. Hit that like button, subscribe, that kind of thing. I'm very curious to hear what you guys thought about this one. Let me know down in the comments. But this was my Call of Duty Ghost 2 story, since Activision simply won't do it. So I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, peace.
We are real.